if you were keeping tabs on the western leg of the Pro Farmer Crop Tour this week, you know it was good, but not great. Weather definitely taking a bite out of the crop there as Farm Journal's Michelle Rook hits the fields to show us this weekend.
Here in the western leg of the crop tour, the story has been variability, and it increased in intensity as we moved into northern Iowa and southern Minnesota due to historic rains and flooding, and that pulled yield averages below USDA's lofty predictions in every state. In South Dakota, 18 to 30 inches of rain in late June in the southeast definitely left its mark.
You can see the washed out areas, the flooded out areas, and it seems like every field's got a problem of some sort.
Acres that weren't zeroed out will see lower yields from increased weed pressure, variable maturity, and pod counts.
A year ago, our pod counts in South Dakota were 1,013. We started off in the 1,300 range, but we've also been as low as 400.
So he says that makes hitting USDA's 47 bushel yield target tough. Scout Tim Gregerson saw consistent corn and ear counts their first few stops, but variability quickly set in.
But this corn just pollinated last week.
He encountered a few surprises, though, with southern rust and no signs of nitrogen loss from the heavy rains early.
So far, the color of the corn's pretty good here. The holes are evident. They're a little bit bigger than normal in this area of South Dakota than a normal year.
So to reach USDA's record yield, the North will have to make up for the South. What a difference a year makes in Nebraska. Last year, Crop Scout saw drought and heat stress.
This year, there's a huge difference in moisture level.
And corn yields were uniform on their route from north to south.
Dry lands had pretty good rain in northeast Nebraska, so we saw consistent yields, 180 to 200, even dry land yields. Today, we're in southeast Nebraska. Been very consistent again. Irrigated yields have been 200, give or take.
They did see some damage from earworms and western bean cutworm and southern rust. Soybean yield potential also looks like it could exceed 2023 with better moisture and only a trace of pest problems.
We're finding more pods, and the pods look like a lot of 3-4 beans. They're coming along really well this year. Beans look really good.
But the big caveat for both crops is hail damage, like in Clay County.
It's 30,000 acres. They said in Phelps County it was 400,000 acres.
So will that prevent Nebraska from hitting the 59 bushel soybean and 194 record corn yield predicted? Judah says it depends on how many acres were zeroed out. As scout and Iowa farmer Roger Savine hits fields in southwest Iowa, he has high expectations.
Southwest Iowa this year in District 7 is going to be a lot better than what it was a year ago.
And the first 4 corn yield checks don't disappoint. Fields are clean and yields range from 203 to 245 bushels per acre. The difference is better moisture and higher ear counts.
We ended up in the 60 feet a row where we check. It was 110 ears. Ear count makes a big difference.
Soybean fields are also nearly pest and weed free and showing high production potential.
They got a lot of pods on. We pulled our number 2 sample was 2,800 some pods. This field right here was 1860, I think.
However, the question is, can Iowa hit the record 209 corn yield and 61 bushel bean target set by USDA with problems north of Highway 20, including flooding?
I think the central third of Iowa is really pretty strong. I think the southern third is pretty strong as well. Probably stronger than we've been in several years. The northern third is going to be the challenge.
Field after field in southern Minnesota shows the scars from record-setting rains and flooding right after Father's Day.
In the county around here, from 19 to 30 inches of rain before the 1st of July.
Some farmers lost entire fields and most of holes within fields and yellow corn.
So there's some drown out spots where guys came back in and either planted just a cover crop or put in some early beans just to fill the hole essentially.
Telstra had just 12 inches of rain, but is still concerned about nitrogen loss on corn.
We just don't know how stuff's going to finish out with the leaching of our products out in the field.
To make things worse, Willer's crops are now drying out, so yield potential on both crops may fall below his APH.
Looking like 175, 80, which we should have 2 1/4. And soybeans, I don't know. If we're lucky to get 50, and they should be 60 plus.
So USDA's projected yields may be unattainable, especially with what crop scouts found in the field.
This is probably one of the best ears we've seen here. This stop was in the 160s. Our first stop was 110, and then, it's been in between there.
Meanwhile, soybean pod counts started low.
The first couple stops were a little bit low on the pod counts. You could tell that they were planted late. They'd had a lot of water. The plants were really thin, not a lot of pods, a lot of tubing pods, really flat yet. So just kind of immature and behind. But this one I just pulled here is really, really strong.
But whether the good areas can offset the bad won't be known until the combines roll. I'm Michelle Rook for U.S. Farm Report.
Thanks, Michelle. Well, how does Iowa's corn crop stack up to Illinois? We're off to the eastern leg of the crop tour next.
The 2024 Pro Farmer Crop Tour on U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by Pioneer, combining cutting-edge research with one of the largest local testing programs in the industry to help farmers succeed. Pioneer. What's next happens here. By Zetavo soybean seed, distributed exclusively by BASF, and by New Leaf Symbiotics, science-led, performance-driven, and data-backed, offering biostimulants for corn, soy, cotton, and peanuts, and a revolutionary new bioinsecticide for corn rootworm.